Hi, this is Miss Huval, here today to talk to you about meter. As we study poetry, it's going to be very important for you to have a pretty good understanding of what we mean by the term meter. So hopefully this presentation will help you with that. So the definition of meter is the rhythm created in a poem by the pattern of stressed and unstressed syllables of the words the poet chooses. So meter gives us rhythm. Think of the Dr. Seuss classic Green Eggs and Ham. When you hear the words in that book, you almost fall into a rhythm as you read. It seems to have a beat. I do not like green eggs and ham. I do not like them, Sam, I am. I would not eat them in a house. I would not eat them with a mouse. I would not eat them here or there. I would not eat them anywhere. Now that beat doesn't come from the rhymes at the end of each line. That comes from the number of syllables in each line. Think about it for a minute. I do not like green eggs and ham. I do not like green eggs and ham. That's 8 syllables. Every line has 8 syllables. And that's what gives it that bounce or that beat when you read it. So the number of syllables in a line is a very important component of meter. The other important component of meter has to do with the stressed or unstressed, the long or short syllables. You'll hear it referred to both ways. So all words naturally have stressed and unstressed syllables. And this is a word, of course, that's more than one syllable. And sometimes the syllable is on the first, sometimes the stress is on the first syllable, and sometimes it's on the second or third. If you think of your name, try to figure out which syllable in your name has the emphasis. Think of the word Amanda. Amanda. That's 3 different syllables. And the second syllable is stressed. It's Amanda, not Amanda or Amanda, right? The name Nicole, which happens to be my name, has 2 syllables, N and Cole. But it's not Nicole, it's Nicole. So the second syllable there is stressed. In Jason, it's the first. In Alexander, Alexander has 4. And it's Zan that's actually stressed in that word. So the pattern of being stressed and unstressed also factors into meter. So it's the number of syllables and the way that they're arranged, stressed and unstressed. All right, so a metric feet are iambs have 2 syllables, and they follow this pattern. Unstressed syllable, then stressed syllable. A crochet has 2 syllables also, but it's the flip-flop of an iamb. In other words, it has 2 syllables, stressed, then unstressed. Now, there are many kinds of metric feet. Iambs and crochets are just 2. Others may have 3 syllables, and they may have a variety of stressed, unstressed. There's even a metric foot that has 2 equally stressed syllables. But the only ones I'm making you learn about are the iamb and the crochet. Okay, so the number of syllables per line is important, and that comes from the way the feet are organized. The most common one that we find in literature is iambic pentameter. So you see this word pentameter. It means that there are 10 syllables per line, and those 10 syllables come from having either 5 iambs or 5 crochets, and each of those have 2. So if you have 5 iambs of 2 syllables each, that gives you 10 syllables per line. Other forms of meter have fewer or more sets of metric feet and have different names based on the number of feet, as you can see right here. All right, so this is kind of how we mark it. This is a section from Sonnet 18 by William Shakespeare. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? It has 10 syllables, and these are arranged unstressed, then stressed. In other words, short, then long. So that is going to be a pattern that is iambic, because iambic goes unstressed, stressed, short, long. And you got 5 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That means this is in iambic pentameter. All right, so iambic pentameter contains 5 sets of iambs, which end up adding up to 10 syllables per line. All right, and as I said before, the U is for the unstressed or short syllables, and the slash is for the stressed or long syllables. Now let's read this together. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? That's how you read it. Think about this though. You're saying, shall I compare thee to a summer's day? That's kind of how the stressed syllables are going to work out. All right? And so the way it flows is more like that. So, if we do not have any pattern of meter, and if we do not have any rhyme, we've got free verse. And we find a lot of modern poetry is written in free verse. And a lot of times the old-timey poetry has meter. Now there's another thing called blank verse, which you've probably heard of before when you were studying Shakespeare. Blank verse is unrhymed iambic pentameter. Shakespeare wrote most of his plays, Romeo and Juliet, Macbeth, which we'll read this year, largely in blank verse. Robert Frost is also well known for writing in blank verse. In fact, a poem that we'll study, Birches, which is number 15 on your poetry handout, is written in blank verse. So lastly, we got to ask ourselves, if I am looking at a poem for this class, what do I need to tell Miss Uball? Okay, so this is kind of what I am looking at. I want you to look at the poem, count up the syllables in each line, and look for a pattern. If you see that all of the lines in the poem have 10 syllables, then I want you to make a conjecture that, hey, it might be an iambic pentameter. Then I would want you to check a few lines to see if the pattern seems to be in iambs or in trochees. All right, now if a poem follows a different pattern of syllables, say in the stanzas, it goes 7/8, 7/8, 7/8, 9 in terms of the numbers of syllables in each line, then we'll say that it seems to have a pattern of meter, but I'm not going to ask you to try to figure out what to call that in any deeper sense. So remember, to be free verse, a poem has neither rhyme nor meter. Okay, I hope this presentation has helped you to understand what meter is. It will be important to me that you can look at a poem and tell for sure whether it is in free verse or in some form of meter. Thanks for watching.